Snow White remake has become the company's worst nightmare. The film has reached a humiliating new low, sealing its place as the worst-rated Disney release of the decade.
Everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, people will wait in line to see.
The Snow White remake from Disney has turned into the company's worst nightmare. The movie has dropped to an embarrassing new low, solidifying its status as the decade's worst-rated Disney production. For everyone who despises, I can only hope that despite my imperfections, which include cracks and bricks, and the fact that there are lots of them, people will still queue up to see me when I win the winged victory. After the Snow White incident, Rachel Zegler is formally avoiding the media. According to reports, she even relocated to New York City to avoid the attention. Fans saw Rachel riding a local New York train, and to be honest, nobody could have predicted how rapidly her circumstances had deteriorated at Disney. By its fourth weekend, Snow White had lost almost half of its initial showings, with many theaters withdrawing it early to make room for more popular films. Social media was ablaze with images of empty cinemas. We must continue discussing Disney's Snow White remake because the
keep talking about Snow White, because Disney's Snow White remake, the box office has suffered a 66% drop in the second weekend of showing. So the film spot could end up costing Disney millions of dollars. We know that the movie is currently one of the lowest IMDb rated movies of all time, receiving a 1.6 out of 10 rating. It's generated $143 million globally to date, which is well short of the $250 million that Disney has spent producing the film, and that doesn't even include the marketing expenses.
movie's box office dropped 66% in its second weekend of release, potentially costing the company millions of dollars. As we already know, the film currently has one of the lowest IMDb ratings of all time. At 1.6 out of 10, it has made $143 million. Worldwide so far, less than the $250 million that Disney spent making the movie. And it doesn't even account for the marketing costs. It's even more embarrassing. One fan shared a TikTok video demonstrating that she was the only person in the theater watching Snow White. She stayed for a short while before realizing she had the entire place to herself. By mid-November 2025, Snow White had been removed from 1,200 theaters. The number of theaters showing the film had fallen from roughly 3,750 on opening weekend to just 2,540. This a total collapse, because no one was.
It wasn't just America either. In China, footage surfaced of IMAX screenings for Snow White that were completely empty.
As a good reporter, I went to check it out myself yesterday here in Shanghai. Now, including myself and my friend, the entire IMAX cinema had just 5 audience members. And that is despite Disney going all out in the promotion of the film here in China. There was even a poster in the elevator at my apartment complex.
Purchasing tickets. Box office trackers like Forbes confirmed that Snow White screenings were being canceled at record speed. Reports indicated that some screenings sold as few as 3 tickets overall, with daily averages dropping to about $53. By late April, it became impossible for theater owners to defend keeping it on the schedule when newer hits like Captain America, Brave New World, and Minecraft, the movie, were drawing actual crowds. To put into perspective, Rachel Snow White was playing 2 empty seats. Two Minecraft aficionados were actually bringing live chickens into theaters. Footage of Snow White IMAX screenings that were entirely empty surfaced in China as well, proving that it wasn't just America. I went to see it myself yesterday in Shanghai, and even though Disney went all out to promote the movie here in China, there was even a poster in the elevator at my apartment. Complex. There were only 5 people in the entire IMAX theater. Rachel Zegler further embarrassed herself when she showed up at one of these nearly deserted theaters just for the toke of her sitting by herself to go viral. At this point, it's obvious that Rachel Zegler's Hollywood career is in serious danger, as major studios have already begun considering her for upcoming projects. And insiders claim that her political remarks during the Snow White press tours have made her a high-risk name that most companies don't want to touch. Rachel's emotional breakdowns.
Move on to lighter news now, and a news that will surprise, well, none of us. Disney's live-action remake of Snow White is officially one of the biggest flops in Hollywood history.
Not only did domineering conduct throughout production and persistent political statements ruin a single film, but they may also be the cause of Disney's decision to completely forego future woke remakes. The financial harm to Disney is far greater than you may imagine. Moving on to more lighthearted news. Disney's Snow White is officially being dubbed the worst failure in Hollywood history. This revelation will surprise none of us. According to a recent Outkick analysis, Disney's live-action Snow White remake is officially among the worst failures in Hollywood history. The shocking financial figures: Disney insiders initially anticipated that the loss would remain at about $115 million. But since Snow White's final worldwide gross only came to about $195 million, the losses are now anticipated to approach $145 million. The wider picture, it may be the final straw for Disney's entire approach of promoting woke live action.
I love what you said about wanting to entertain audiences. Critics saying Disney's too woke, but you're just putting out storytelling.
We are. Look, I don't really like the term woke because I think it's an umbrella term that I'm not 100% sure I even know what it means. And one could argue that sometimes it's used too liberally. That said, our primary purpose is to entertain. And where we can entertain responsibly, obviously, we try to do that. We try to have a positive impact on the world. But the first thing we need to do is entertain.
Remakes. In response to a recent interview question about Disney being too woke, CEO Bob Iger awkwardly admitted that he no longer really knows what woke actually means and asserted that the company is just trying to have a positive impact on the world. I love what you said about wanting to entertain audiences, but I don't really like the term woke because I think it's an umbrella term that I'm not 100% sure I even know what it means. And one could argue that sometimes it's used too liberally. That said, our primary purpose is to entertain. And where we can do that, obviously we try to have a positive impact on the world. But the first thing we need to do is entertain. Disney has discreetly halted work on its next live-action adaptation. Tangled was supposed to be Disney's most costly live-action remake ever. According to insiders, the budget for Tangled was expected to surpass that of Snow White. However, following Snow White's disastrous box office performance and unrelenting public outcry, Disney decided to immediately halt Tangled's development. And Rachel Zegler's involvement didn't help. Sources claim that even before Snow White collapsed, Disney executives were already becoming concerned about Rachel's public image, and major production studios began.
Disney executives were pressuring Gal to defend the Disney agenda and the message behind the film. Gal refused, since she knows her career is at stake. There was one confrontation between both Gal and Rachel, where Gal recently told Zegler herself that she was the sole individual that tanked the entire film at the box office.
To reevaluate Rachel's future projects completely. The collapse of a whole billion-dollar plan that Disney was betting their future on is what the Snow White disaster is now about. Not just one actress or one bad film. The worst part for Disney is that there will still be more fallout, and Rachel Zegler's reputation is directly in the middle of it. In addition to ruining Rachel Zegler's chances for a successful career, her Snow White incident caused a rift between her co-stars. According to reports, Rachel is in full meltdown mode after being viciously ridiculed online for her political remarks and the woke Snow White disaster. Sources speculate that she may even be going to therapy right now to deal with the criticism. while her co-stars are also separating. Gal Gadot, who portrayed the evil queen in Snow White, recently addressed the matter without mentioning Rachel by name. Gail claimed that the Snow White project failed due to a lack of teamwork behind the scenes, and that Disney executives pressured her to defend the Disney agenda and the film's message. Gail declined because she knew her career was on the line. Insiders also disclosed that Disney the movie's image, but Gal declined.
You've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
And at this rate, there might not be any coming back at this point. Rachel Zegler's Snow White disaster has spiraled far beyond a simple box office flop. Her own co-stars like Gal Gadot refusing to publicly defend her. The collapse is complete. Rachel's woke interviews controlling behavior behind the scenes. And non-stop political comments didn't just hurt one movie. They destroyed an entire strategy Disney was banking on. Now, even Rachel's future in Hollywood looks uncertain as major studios start backing away. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think Rachel Zegler still has a chance at saving her career after all of this? Was Disney's collapse more about bad corporate decisions, or was Rachel's attitude the final nail in the coffin? And should Disney stop making these live-action remakes altogether? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're reading everything, and we'll feature the best ones in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you later.